And on that day, our Ford Escape's engine perished. All was not lost, however. Ford said that with enough time and money, anything's possible. I've got the time. Guess I'm gonna have to figure out the money. And with any good project, first we begin with the teardown.
that you've seen that teardown clip, we're going to discuss exactly what it's going to take for us to finish this project. We are here in this 100% not fake classroom in order to be able to show you the exact steps we're going to have to take in order to put this Ford Escape back together again. Step number 1, we need to decide exactly what we're going to do. What we would like out of this build is to have a vehicle that is capable of doing mild to moderate off-roading while still maintaining some decent road manners in case I want to take it on a road trip. I want to be able to go down the interstate and still be able to, have it act normal. So that's number 1. That's the main encompassing goal of this rig that we're going to build. So how do we make that happen? Well, number 1, we're going to decide what engine to put in there. Well, that's easy. Because I have one laying around, we are actually going to do a V8 swap into this Ford Escape, which raises some interesting problems for this rig. Now, the Ford Escape, if you do or don't know, it was a front-wheel drive, mainly all-wheel drive rig. So basically, it was a transverse engine, so rather than going front to back like a traditional engine does, it was more of a front wheel drive configuration, so it was sitting sideways, essentially inside the engine compartment. Now, that's all fine and dandy, but I don't plan on keeping a front wheel drive configuration because I want to be able to use a much more robust transfer case, transmission, and of course, differentials as well. So, what that's going to entail is it's going to be a little bit of fabrication work. We're going to take the engine, we're going to need to place it inside of the vehicle, see how it fits, and then once we get to that point, we can see how much we're going to need to cut away to build a transmission tunnel, because it never had one, because it didn't need it, because everything was sideways. So we are going to have to figure that out. We're going to cut, we're going to weld, we're going to build our own transmission tunnel. We are going to turn this into a fully functional rear wheel / 4-wheel drive rig. Now, one thing that I would like to do is to maintain the stock suspension. It's got enough ground clearance really for what I need to do right now. I would like to have the road manners of a fully independent suspension. It's comfortable on the highway, and it's more than capable off-road. Chances are we are going to have to do a solid axle swap in the future. We're going to cross that bridge as we come to it. We are not there yet. If we do get there, we're probably going to use the axles out of a Jeep Cherokee. I think the width will be about where we need it. It's going to be a little bit wider than the Escape, but I think that's okay. So if we get to that point, that's where we'll go with that. So as we go back to the chart here, we've got a few steps to go. But one thing that I really want to do, and one thing that we're really going to need to focus on, is taking the engine, putting the V8 in there, and making it look as factory as possible, and making it function as factory as possible. So after we get the transmission tunnel built, after we get the engine mounted, a cross member built for the engine itself, because there isn't one. It was the engine was mounted on a cradle in that front wheel drive configuration. So once we get that cross member built, we'll be able to slide it back and forth to see exactly where we're going to want it. And at that point, we're going to be able to lift the engine cradle and suspension from the factory Escape and see how we are clearance wise on that. We're going to have an oil pan that's going to contend with probably the rack and pinion steering, which I would love to keep if I could, but you know, if we do a solid axle swap, obviously that's going to go away. We're just going to see how much clearance we need. It is possible that we could take that front cradle and drop it if we need to, lower it a little bit, which would essentially be a lift for this rig. So that is something that it's an option for us. We don't know yet exactly what we're going to do. When we get to that step, we'll find out. Obviously, a major component that I really want to focus on for this is going to be the electrical. I would really like to see the electrical integrated with the all the body harness inside the cab of the Escape itself, so that we can maintain all the factory buttons and doodads and, you know, options that it had. You know, obviously it's a 2004, so it's not super fancy, but you know, I do want to be able to integrate all the steering wheel controls. I want to integrate all the buttons on the dash and all that good stuff. I want to maintain that functionality. Even though we're swapping the engine, you know, there's no reason why the body harness can't be integrated and work just as well. So that's going to be a big focus, and we'll work on that. That's going to be a fun chapter in this project. As we do that, one of the things that I'm curious about, that I'd really like to see if it works or not, is going to be maintaining the HVAC system. So the heater controls, the heater box itself, air conditioning, all that stuff. I want to be able to see if having that in place, if we are going to still be able to build our transmission tunnel, get our transmission in, but maintain that without having to modify it. If that is possible, it will be fantastic. And that's what we're going for. That's also another bridge that we'll cross when we get there. But anyway, the reason why we're inside now is because it's getting colder out, and there's really no need for me to be out recording this video, or this section anyway, talking to you guys. There's no reason for me to be outside talking to you guys. I can talk to you just fine in here, and then I can illustrate it on the board here. So this is something hopefully I'm not going to have to do very often. More often than not, I would like to be outside recording this while we're doing this. But for now, I just thought it would be good to illustrate all the points of the vehicle, and here they are. This is where we need to go to. So on the next video, we are going to begin the fitment of the V8 and just see where it's going to sit, if there's going to be enough room for everything, and we'll kind of go from there. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this first installment of this video series. It's a very exciting build for me. I've always loved the Ford Escape. It came out when I was in high school, and you know, being a former Samurai owner and loving all the small SUVs and whatnot, I thought it would be great. But you know, it's got some weaknesses. It's an all-wheel drive, and the transfer case, or the power transfer unit as it's called, in an all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive system, they're almost made of glass. They're really not robust at all. And so being able to throw an actual transfer case, having some real power ahead of it, and all that stuff, I think it's just going to be a fun project. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen anybody do it. We're probably going to find out why. People haven't done that. It's probably going to be a nightmare. But it'll be a fun nightmare. It'll be a great learning opportunity for us. And, you know, what a great way to start this channel. So from my family to yours, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time.